Hi everyone. So this image shows a future London where driverless vehicles have changed the way the city looks and the way we live in the city. Drones crisscross the sky, delivery pods clamber up the sides of tall buildings, robots queue for jobs at the robot job centre, and single-person pods transport sleeping passengers in herds from home to office and back again. In this presentation, I'll share with you some predictions about what the future might hold in terms of shape and variety of new buildings, some of the hopes and fears that people have that we've spoken to through workshops and exhibitions, and the design opportunities and challenges that we must consider if we're to create a future that is right for people in the city. So first, what are the big issues that we need to consider when designing future vehicles? These are some of the diagrams that we gave to our summer interns last year to imagine and inspire them about future directions. We asked them to consider what a vehicle might look like if it was occupied only by children, and what vehicles would look like if they were designed only for people with additional needs. We asked them to consider how those vehicles might change city architecture. So we asked them to think about the impact of driverless vehicles on city architecture. We asked them to think about the impact of vehicles on public services like health and security. How would these vehicles change the way food is delivered and other goods? And how will these vehicles communicate with each other and with the world around them? So some of the vehicles that have been developed include city pods that herd together on larger roads and split up into individual units for the last mile. Connected cars that provide additional services beyond transportation. Gesture vehicles that nod, wink and purr to signify what they're planning to do. Cars specifically designed for families so that they can play or chat together. Extended mobility vehicles that help people in wheelchairs or mums with prams or heavy shopping. And even luxury vehicles that represent the modern equivalent of the human-powered litter, where the wealthy are carried by intelligent robots as if they were modern-day slaves. Further solutions look at underlying needs and desires of Londoners and the implications of changing safety standards in vehicles. Some support millennial activities like immersive 3D gaming and concerns around physical fitness, a treadmill car, or an activity bus with gym equipment inside. Another example on this page considers what couples will do in a taxi when there is no driver to watch over them. Beyond vehicles for people, students imagined new ways of enabling life with a range of useful and not so useful robots. An automated street cleaner, an autonomous dog walking guide, street vending machines and mobile market stalls that do not need people to operate them. They imagine bins that go to the depot to empty themselves, silence machines that could capture noise from traffic or from construction sites, and mobile barriers that herd people across busy intersections to ensure that VIP driverless vehicles have priority. Delivery pods collect content from motherships that in turn collect parcels from central depots. The sky is full of different drones. Bee bots pollinate trees and plants. Adverts are beamed down on us based on our online profiles and the neighbourhood that we're walking through. And drones are put to use by security and health services too. Our vehicle design students imagined even more extreme forms of vehicle on the assumption that future vehicles in streets would be inherently safe and accident-free. These include a climbing frame vehicle that allows kids to climb on it as they go to school. A mobile office so that you can work on your way across town, or a mobile classroom that allows you to learn wherever you are. So beyond the work that our students did, we also carried out a series of activities with the general public. Here I show some pictures from a series of workshops that we ran with over 100 members of the public. That included drivers and non-drivers, technical enthusiasts, people with additional needs. We asked them to tell us about their hopes and fears for driverless vehicles, and we asked them to imagine or explain what the challenges are on current journeys and what future journeys might feel like. And then we gave them Lego and plasticine and let their inner child create dream vehicles of the future. We ran an exhibition at the London Transport Museum for 6 weeks, and during that exhibition we held 4 workshops. We did a workshop on entertaining interiors. So when we imagine that our interiors are no longer about driving and safety, what do we do inside them? You know, what's the playful experience that we do inside these vehicles? We asked them what could be made driverless. You know, beyond moving people around, what else do we see as being driverless? Maybe driverless shower pods, driverless delivery pods, advertising moving around according to programs that are assigned by IBM and other technology organizations. In the Cars for Kids workshop, we asked parents and children to imagine what cars would look like if they were designed for them, and whether parents would be happy to send their kids off to school without a parent on board. And during the autonomous architecture workshop, we worked with urban planners and architects to reimagine cities to take into account these new driverless technologies. And then we put people into our driverless shuttle, which we're using down in Greenwich. I think the shuttle's name is Harry. And we imagine future journeys, commuting journeys, shopping journeys, and journeys out at night. So in the future journey to work, we gave people tablets and we asked them to imagine doing a little bit of work. We asked them if they'd like to do some exercise on their way to work, and we gave them exercise machines to use. And we asked them to meditate and see how the environment supports a calm journey on the way home. With the shopping journey, we asked people to write out a shopping list, wrap a present, and then have a massage. And in the journey out in the evening, we asked them to play a game together, eat some food, and dress up for the night. And using these activities, we stimulate people to reimagine, what the future will look like when we're no longer focused on driving these vehicles. So, out of these workshops and these exhibitions, we've gathered a lot of information about people's hopes and fears. I mean, their fears include things like antisocial behaviour. If all the vehicles moving around the street are driverless, what's going to happen in terms of our attitudes and behaviours to these machines? And how is that going to affect the physical environment? What's the role of big business? It's constantly tracking our every move and monitoring what we're doing. What's going to happen to high streets if we get to the point where there are no costs or low costs to transport goods using driverless pods? What's going to happen to our high streets? What's going to happen to our shops? And what's the threat to our city, to the environment of our city, if it is filled with robots, with machines that have a life of their own, that aren't under our control? And we also asked people about their hopes. These included a city environment that is quiet and clean and pollution-free, more comfortable, fun, and useful commutes and journeys. and fewer cars on the streets as more people make use of integrated public transport and shared vehicles. So then we asked our designers to come up with some provocative designs to help people to understand what these futures might look like. And we're going to start by showing you the designs that come from people's fears. Will these new technologies focus on the needs and desires of the wealthy and ignore those people, exclude those people without financial resources? Here, a row of surf robots carry a wealthy couple while a robot arm feeds them grapes. Will automated machines, like other technologies, remove even more jobs from the labour market? Here, street vending machines ply their trade and track customers using sophisticated machine learning that knows when and where they're likely to make the most profit. Will people reject shared public transport and demand individual pods that carry them from door to door without human interaction, making our cities even more isolated and potentially leading to even higher levels of diabetes and obesity? And with the death of the high street, will the wealthy elite be shuttled to work in luxurious autonomous coaches that double as high-end retail stores? Will robot machines resort to aggressive behaviour as they hustle with pedestrians for the fastest route across town? How will intelligent machines communicate with distracted people? As one of our participants said, I can't make eye contact with a robot. I can't give it a nod or a wink. And then we asked our designers to think about the opportunities. What's the positive outcome that could come from these machines, these intelligent machines? We imagine how citizens can reclaim their roads and live in harmony with future robots, how a guide bot helps a blind person navigate while also providing a guided tour of local history. Street cleaners pick up crisp packets and return them to the mobile bin, which is also displaying local news. A delivery pod tracks down the owner of a gift from her mum. More and more vehicles are kitted out with additional services so they can support other functions when they're not needed by their owners. Here, a doctor's car pulls over to help a person who has fallen unconscious. What are the other services that future vehicles might provide? And as we live longer and more retirees return to the centre of cities, shared vehicles will need to become more inclusive and easy to access. A future driverless taxi may include a ramp to help everyone from mums with prams to those in wheelchairs. Some may include a basket for your pet and an internal loo if you are caught short. Noise from drilling machines, drilling could be reduced to a more acceptable level, allowing conversations without the need to shout. If we aren't paying for drivers to move machines around, what other functions could these mobile robots provide to support the daily life of our cities? And while some are concerned by the lack of a driver, others see the possibility of more benign behaviour on their roads. Driverless vehicles can be designed to be polite and patient, especially if their passengers are comfortable and enjoying the ride. And perhaps shops won't close, they'll reinvent themselves. Cities will become densely occupied with pedestrianised streets, and those who do need to take a bus will be able to sit at a bar and drink a coffee as fleets of intelligent vehicles navigate calmly across our towns. People hope for myriad things, and maybe the future will provide them all. These gentle giants flap through the sky, picking up energy from wind and sun, and use this to clean the air or take future tourists on panoramic trips across the Thames. So we're still in the midst of our research, and we've got plenty more to do. We want to describe the stories of the future for young people and old, for rich and poor, for able-bodied and those in need of additional support. We want to describe what the future services and business models are that these vehicles will provide, and how the interiors and exteriors will need to adapt to meet these needs. We have to think about the impact that driverless machines will have on the city, on our homes, on our offices, our factories and shops, and how city infrastructure will need to adapt too. We want to understand what patterns can be used to create future transport of utility, value and delight, and what is the roadmap to increase acceptance and adoption through design. Will the future be a dystopian one, where jobs are lost, high streets closed, and machines track our every move? Or can we create a positive future where autonomous machines increase access for all, drive productive capacity and well-being in our society, improve our environment, and as the American writer Richard Brautigan hoped 50 years ago, watch over us with loving grace? Thank you very much.